Good evening, welcome to North West Tonight with Annabelle Tiffin. Our top story, the mum from Burnley raffling her house to pay for cancer treatment abroad.
If it goes to grade 3, it'll start to grow a bit more rapidly. So like I say, whilst I've got time to explore other alternatives, that's our plan.
Claire has an inoperable malignant brain tumour. Also tonight, increased powers for councils to fine motorists who park on the pavement. Dying in the cold, fears for the future of Liverpool's historic botanical collection. And War and Wool, the intricate knitted scenes on display in Blackburn.
You can feel the joy and the movement in the actual displays, and that's just amazing.
A woman from Burnley is raffling her home to raise cash for cancer surgery. Claire Nutter was diagnosed with a brain tumour in 2023. She's now been told the only treatment available to her is expensive specialist surgery and therapy in Germany. The mum of 2 is determined to spend as much time as possible with her family and hopes the raffle will raise the hundreds of thousands of pounds she needs. Our reporter Eunice Muller went to meet her.
Claire Nutter and Gary Dunn live in the historic village of Raffling, at the foot of Pendle Hill. This Grade 2 listed building in Lancashire has been home to Claire for more than 2 decades. Most of that time she's been healthy, but in 2021 she started getting headaches and dizziness.
I got to this part in my life and I thought maybe it's to do with the menopause, maybe I'm starting with headaches and migraines again because my hormones are changing. So I went to the doctors and like I said, that's when he said we'll do some blood tests and came back that I was anemic.
A birthday treat from Gary took them to Italy in 2023. That's when it became obvious there was something seriously wrong.
As we were going out of the restaurant, I passed out and then I'd passed out then probably eight or 9 times. Was sick again.
The same day?
Same day, within a few hours, yeah.
Claire was diagnosed with a brain tumour the size of a tennis ball.
And he took us in a little side room just to explain sort of thing, has anyone told you what's happened and stuff. And then he said, you've obviously got a brain tumour. And we both actually laughed a little bit and went, what is that? So that's serious then? And he went, yeah.
3 operations and chemotherapy later, that's only shrunk to 50%. And the next step, radiotherapy, is too dangerous.
There's no more options in the UK, privately or on the NHS. So rather than just sit and wait for bad things to happen, I might as well just try my best to find something that might help, a miracle cure.
That's when Gary came up with the idea of putting their £800,000 4-bedroom house as a raffle prize to fund treatment abroad.
We've had obviously various fundraisers and as amazing as that is and everyone in the community has been, you know, so helpful, we just needed that next step.
I can get really upset about that. More so probably than my own health, because I feel guilty. I feel guilty that I'm disrupting everybody. Do you know, Gary, my mum, my children. It
might be Germany, like I said, that could cost 350,000. That might not work, there's no guarantees with that. Then we might have to go again somewhere else. You know, it's about getting as much money as possible and raising as much to get the best treatment for her.
Knows me will just say, you're just always smiling. But then I don't think there's any other way to... I've always been like that. I've always been a glass half full girl and I don't want that to change. So I just got to keep smiling and keep being positive.
Eunice Muller, BBC North West Tonight, roughly.
Well, a new law which could lead to better research and funding for rare cancers came a step closer today. The Rare Cancers Bill, which passed its 2nd reading in the House of Lords earlier, would require the Health Department to improve research into less common cancers and for pharmaceutical companies to improve treatments. Backing the bill is Nicola Nuttall from Barrowford in Lancashire. You will remember, I'm sure, her daughter Laura died from a rare form of brain cancer nearly 3 years ago, aged just 23. Well, earlier, Nicola told me why the bill was so important to her.
I understand the economics of the NHS and how you're going to focus on the things that you can change easily. But the way that we look at it is that the rare cancers are almost like the corner pieces of a jigsaw. So if you can fill those in, then filling the rest will be a lot easier, and we will learn so much from treating the rare cancers. But it is frustrating because you turn on the TV and you hear an advert with Idris Elba saying we're curing cancer, and I just shout at the TV and say, well, you're not curing all cancers. You might be making a difference for some, but almost half of them are considered rare, and most of those are then considered less survivable. So we're making huge inroads, but that rising tide is not lifting all the boats. So we need to just actually focus on those harder to treat cancers.
And how confident are you that this bill will A, go through, but also actually make a real difference?
Well, I'm hopeful that it will go through, and there's lots of cross-party support, and lots of MPs from and Lords are also behind this, and they're really pushing to get that through, which is brilliant. Putting someone in charge, making that person look at what we're doing now, will be a great starting point. And actually to start those conversations with the pharmaceutical companies, that's brilliant. But we need more. We need dedicated funding. We need to look at early diagnosis. We need to look at a whole broad spectrum of things, but this could be a real jumping off point for the people with rare cancers.
We've been speaking to Claire, and I know you know Claire, and she's having to raffle her house to be able to go abroad for treatment. I mean, what a position for her to be in.
It's devastating. It's devastating, and Claire and Gary are amazing people. And the fact that they're having to do this to fund treatment is so wrong. It's so wrong. They're really lovely, kind people, and it's just bad luck. It's just random, it comes from nowhere, and it devastates families. And to see this family go through the worst thing imaginable, and to know what that feels like, is so hard.
You had to fundraise for Laura's treatment in Germany, but there are huge risks that come with that, going to another country for treatment.
But no, you're right, going out to another country does feel risky. Even just travelling and actually using planes and things when you have brain cancer is really
and spending
quite stressful.
All your money on it as well. And potentially, I suppose, you may not get the results you want.
Well, everybody's different and everyone reacts differently to treatment, and we had a good experience in Germany, but we need to look at why their regulations and legislation is different in Germany, that they're allowed to take risks and they have a right to try, and the right to try drugs, in a way, that needs to come before the right to die, because now we're looking at the right to die bill, which is also coming through the House of Lords today. And actually what we want to do is try first, because we don't want to give up. We want to fight for the people that we love, and sometimes that means doing things that are outside the box.
Hey, Nicola, it's lovely to speak to you. Thank you very much. Oh, and we'll keep an eye on both those stories, and thank you very much to Claire and Nicola for speaking to us. Next tonight, a man who murdered his wife after being told he wasn't invited to a family event for his daughter has been jailed for life. Namaja Masiya Parayanam fatally stabbed his estranged partner inside the shop where she was working in Bootle in June last year. He will serve a minimum of 28 years in prison. The Charity Commission has taken regulatory action against the Diocese of Liverpool, accusing them of safeguarding failures. The regulator said it failed to take proper action after allegations were made against Dr John Parumbalath, who resigned as Bishop of Liverpool a year ago. He was accused of sexual assault. He denied the allegations. Police in Greater Manchester have been filming drivers using their mobile phones or not wearing a seatbelt from a bus. The vehicle took to roads in Bolton this morning during rush hour. The force says it caught 23 motorists breaking the law, including some who ran red lights, as well as texting while driving, an offence that can land you with 6 points on your licence and a £200 fine.
People see this all the time and stuff like that. It's very, very frustrating where you're a careful and competent driver, you're obeying the rules of the road, you sat someone in the traffic lights and they're clearly distracted by using the mobile phone. It's completely dangerous.
Now, councils in the North West are getting tougher powers to curb pavement parking. It's banned outright in London and Scotland, and soon local authorities across England will also be able to fine drivers for causing an obstruction. But motoring groups have warned that there's often limited space for cars in residential areas. Kevin Fitzpatrick reports.
On a daily basis, if you go out, you're never sure of what you're going to be coming across. For Rachel Zembler from Stockport, navigating parked cars can be a constant ordeal.
So you just got to try and work your way around it, have you?
Yeah.
Now, for the first time, English councils outside London will be able to issue fines to clear pathways.
Having to go onto the road is very, very scary, not just for blind and partially sighted people, for those who may be in a wheelchair, people have prams, pushchairs, young people. So I'm now on the road.
You're on the road.
It can be very dangerous, especially when you can't see.
Currently, police can fine motorists if they cause an obstruction or park a vehicle in a dangerous position. But council enforcement officers are limited to where road rules have been broken, such as breaking parking restrictions or parking on double yellows. And in the Harper Hay area of Manchester, it's long been a frustration.
You've got a wheelchair, you can't get past. If you've got a pram, you can't get past. And it's just inconvenient at the time.
Sometimes I can't get my scooter in and out. Sometimes people with prams they can't get, past, really. If you started finding people, probably would help a bit.
People need to park somewhere. And I think all that's going to happen down here is people are going to be starting to park in, be it Asda car park or the swimming pool car park. People will always find these little nooks and crannies where they can put their car in, but that's going to cause problems as well.
Councils will get new powers to tackle the problem later this year, alongside guidance on how the rules should be enforced. But there is concern from some motoring groups about a sudden change of policy.
This policy needs to be interpreted with discretion, because otherwise it'll just be an opportunity for councils to run riot with more revenue-raising powers that are not properly regulated.
In many residential areas, motorists argue they've no choice but to park some way onto the pavement. It may not be an easy problem to solve. Kevin Fitzpatrick, BBC North West Tonight.
And you can see more about that on Politics North West. That's on Sunday morning from 10 o'clock on BBC One, and you can catch up later on the BBC iPlayer. Now, passengers were evacuated from an Arriva bus in Liverpool this afternoon before it burst into flames. Fire crews were called to Ormskirk Road in Aintree just before 12 o'clock. Merseyside Fire and Rescue said there were no apparent injuries and all passengers were accounted for. Controversial safety works planned, which involved the loss of trees in Poynton, has been refused by councillors in Cheshire. Cheshire East Council said the plans for Poynton Pool were required because of safety concerns, but councillors refused the plans. It also emerged that the Housing Secretary is considering a tree preservation order for the site during the meeting. Now, there are fears that some of the world's rarest plants in Liverpool's Botanical collection have died after the heating system in the greenhouses broke down last April and was only fixed this week. The collection was established in 1802 by the Liverpool MP William Roscoe. It's been housed at various sites, including Calderstones Park, before moving to Croxteth in 2009. Campaigners hope it can be better protected, as Mairead Smith reports.
This is the walled garden of Croxteth Hall.
Within these walls, the way to the greenhouses. Stephen Lyas is chair of Liverpool Botanical Trust. He fears freezing temperatures over the last few months have put the botanical collection at risk.
Tropical plants aren't used to any cold. They die very easily. We've no idea the impact until, I guess, in the spring, when hopefully some plants will come back. But for some, we're going to have to start again. My fear is it'll just decay, because these plants are not very forgiving.
Established by William Roscoe in 1802, the collection has bloomed at different sites around Liverpool, attracting visitors here at Calderstones Park until 1984. The move to Croxteth Hall happened in 2009. These greenhouses were part of Lord Sefton's estate. One grew carnations to meet his need of a buttonhole a day. Today, these greenhouses hold the botanical collection.
Liverpool Botanic Gardens between 1800 and 1840 was the botanic garden in the empire. It was only when Kew started up in 1840 that they took over.
A temporary fix of blow heaters was put in place after November's cold snap, but for some plants it was too late. Liverpool City Council says it's committed to the preservation and care of the historical plants housed at Croxteth Botanical Gardens, and a review of the heating system in one of the greenhouses identified long-term issues preventing it from working properly. They say temporary heaters were continually monitored and the system was fixed this week. But Stephen says the issues here go far beyond the heating.
The rot in the wood is clear in lots of places. I mean, if you look over there, there's glass panes that have cracked. There's temporary repairs with the plastic covering that pane.
There is some hope on the horizon, though, for the Peach House, the glass house closest to the main hall.
We've got Heritage Lottery money to renew that, and hopefully in the next month or so that will happen. So we will have one glass house that will be usable.
Stephen's aim is to bring Liverpool's botanical collection and these greenhouses back to life.
This should be a tourist destination, but we need millions, and the current budgets, it's not easy.
Mairead Smith, BBC North West Tonight, Liverpool.
Well, on to sport now, and another Manchester derby is upon us. Ian is here, but this time with a new man in charge for Manchester United. Michael Carrick is that man, and today he faced the media for the first time in that role. What did he have to say?
I don't know, I can't remember. But no...
That's your job.
No real headline-grabbing statements were made, though, Annabelle, I can confirm that. But he did speak of his love for the club and that the main aim was improvement. Of course, he's only had a few days to implement his ideas, and it's always hard to predict how this United side will perform, but in Manchester City they could hardly have tougher opponents. Michael Carrick won every domestic and European trophy going in his 12 years as a Manchester United player. He also played in 23 Manchester derbies, but this, of course, will be his first as manager.
Yeah, listen, it's fantastic to be here. It's a great feeling for me to be in this position. You know, there's one side of it is nice to be here, but the other side of it is focus, concentration, and a real drive to improve the team and improve results.
He inherits a side 7th in the Premier League table, but without a win since Boxing Day and knocked out of the FA Cup last weekend. The cliched new manager bounce would do nicely.
I've been back in this role for 3 days, and there's nothing that I've looked at that's really red flagged anything, I have to say. The players have been really good, willing to listen, willing to learn, wanting to do better for the club, wanting to put better performances in. That's the feeling I've got, the support staff. And
get United in Europe, maybe even the Champions League, then that's going right. But obviously he's got a really tough start. Man City at home on Saturday, Arsenal away a week on Sunday. I mean, that is the toughest start you could imagine. So you kind of hope for Michael Carrick's sake that when he comes out of those 2 games and he's going into the Fulham game at Old Trafford after that he's got some positivity out of this start.
It was widely reported that a major factor in Carrick getting the job was because of his hands-on coaching experience, but other perhaps less obvious qualities clearly contributed too.
People look at Michael Carrick as the way that he played, very calm, very measured, very understated. You know, in his last spell, his 3-game spell, he dropped Ronaldo, he dropped Bruno Fernandes. So that shows that he's not frightened of making tough decisions. So he does have a tough streak, and I think the fact that Michael has brought in Steve Holland as his coach, a guy that's been around the block with England, 55 years old, worked at Chelsea under Mourinho, Conte and Ancelotti, shows that he's prepared to delegate to somebody with more experience, and that is really important. I think that addition to the backroom staff is really important this week.
Just as City side try to make up ground on Arsenal, they're 6 points off the leaders in second.
With this being...
You have more info about what the opponent or the manager, the opponent does. You have to give more info to the players. When you don't have any info, don't give info to the players and focus on yourself.
City were convincing 3-0 winners in the last Premier League derby in September. There's probably even more at stake for both clubs tomorrow. Interesting game ahead. Incidentally, despite Pep Guardiola refusing to talk about it in his press conference, City have now agreed a deal in principle to sign this man, Crystal Palace captain and England defender Mark Gahey, later this month for £20 million. Well, also... and have a very tricky away game at Aston Villa, while at Anfield, Liverpool, who had that terrible run of results but have since been unbeaten since November, host Burnley. The Clarets are second bottom and 8 points from safety.
Ideally, it's not 11 games unbeaten, it's 11 wins in a row. And that's always where you're aiming for, if that is realistic. But from where we were and then where we are now, I think we're in a much better place. But there's still enough room for improvement.
I think you've seen other teams go there, top teams, and are probably on the end of some big results. And I think that's the beast. Prepare this team as best we can to go there and give the best version of ourselves and get a positive result, hopefully.
There is, of course, a full fixture list in the EFL this weekend, but there's no WSL as it's the Women's FA Cup. Also this weekend, the Championship season gets underway in Rugby League, and that means a brand new start for a brand new club whose kit launch we were at the other night. Salford RLFC, founded just 6 weeks or so ago as a reformed version of the liquidated Salford Red Devils, are back at their own home, the Corpac Stadium, and tonight they host Oldham. It gets underway at 8. So a momentous night for Salford. Meanwhile, their cohabitants at the Corpac Stadium, Sale Sharks, seen here beating Durban Sharks last week, are in action at Toulouse in Rugby Union's Champions Cup tomorrow, having already booked their place in the last 16. So that's the sports, almost. But before I go, here is a short BBC local radio promotional video.
In Lancashire, we follow Burnley to Anfield as they take on Liverpool, looking for their first Premier League win since October.
Michael Carrick takes charge of United for the first time against Manchester City in the derby. You'll hear it on Radio Manchester Saturday from 12.
And as well as commentary on Liverpool on Sunday, BBC Radio Merseyside have Everton's game at Aston Villa. That one is a 4:30 kick-off.
There you go. How about that?
I feel quite invigorated after that.
Yeah, can I just tell you very quickly, the lowest ranked side left in the FA Cup, Macclesfield, are playing their game on a Monday night on the 16th of February. It's not live on the BBC, it's on another channel, but still good anyway. Monday night it is, so not a Saturday afternoon like last time.
No, but that's still brilliant because they're still playing at home, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Ian. Actually, you're not going anywhere, are you? You're staying, because have a look at these incredible knitted scenes. They are amazing. This is the Longest Yarn 2, a striking 80-metre exhibition created solely from wool, depicting life during the Second World War.
Yeah, hundreds of volunteers have contributed to the artwork, which is on display at Blackburn Cathedral in its centenary year. Anna Jameson's been to take a look.
It's World War II like you've never seen before.
The work, the skill, the love, the time, everything that's gone into it. I'm not a knitter, but I can totally just get the... Oh, it's just amazing.
Hundreds of volunteers have painstakingly crafted each of the 80 individual panels, from real photos, each depicting a scene during British wartime.
The spread of people from across the UK has been incredible, and what's really interesting is that those people will have a personal connection to the scenes that they've been making. So whether they were Anderson shelters or whether they were involved in Battle of Britain or in the ships, all walks of life within World War II, somebody's had a personal story to tell and they've made it.
My auntie worked as a land girl. My uncle was a Bevan boy. My dad was in the D-Day landings. So it still has a connection with people who I knew very well.
And each visitor is taken on a chronological journey, from the outbreak of war right through to VE celebrations.
There was a couple captured in the moment of celebrations. I think they were in Trafalgar Square, and there's that famous kiss. Nobody knows who the people were or whether it was staged or they knew each other, nobody knows, but there's that very famous romantic kiss captured in yarn.
And it's the first of celebrations to mark the cathedral's centenary.
Obviously I wasn't there, well I might look like I was there, but I wasn't there. But it makes you think how it was, it just makes you think how real those dark days were, really.
You can feel the joy and the movement in the actual displays, and that's just amazing.
Britain on War, The Longest Yarn 2, is on display until Saturday the 7th of February. Anna Jameson, BBC North West Tonight in Blackburn.
They're so good. Well, we've had some lovely sunsets over the past couple of nights, haven't we? So let's show you a few pictures before the weather. Gorgeous. Right, let's get a look at the weather. Here's Gillian Brown.
Hello there, a very good evening to you. We've had some decent spells of sunshine through the day today. Plenty of blue sky. This picture sent in by one of our weather watchers, so thank you very much, Tony, for that one. Plenty of blue sky, a little bit of patchy cloud, and as we head through the course of the weekend, there will be some bright spells, particularly tomorrow afternoon, but there will also be some outbreaks of rain for some of us. So this is our setup as we head the way through the course of tonight. You can see our weather front here just pushing up from the south, could just bring a few bits and pieces of rain for a time as we head overnight tonight. So this evening there's quite a bit of cloud around, you might get a few clear spells, and then there's our weather front, so it will bring some heavy outbreaks of rain. I'd say largely the further east you are, the more likely you are to see those. Some there for the Isle of Man as well, temperatures between 4 and 6 degrees, so a little bit damp as we head into the day tomorrow, but eventually you'll see that front does clear away, leaving us with some sunshine behind it. So quite a bright afternoon for many of us, a little bit of cloud at times, but those temperatures a little bit milder, between 8 and 9 degrees. Fairly light winds as well for the majority of us. And as we head overnight and into Sunday, you'll see we do have this warm front that will start to push up some clouds, some further outbreaks of rain for some of us as well. So likely to be a little bit unsettled and quite misty, murky to start the day on Sunday. That front again pushing its way up from the south, could have some heavy bursts within that as well. So heavy for a time. There will be quite a lot of cloud once again. The Isle of Man though largely quite dry. Those temperatures around 7 or 8 degrees. Now, as we head into the new working week, a little bit of a situation with these weather fronts, which means it could be a bit unsettled as we head towards the first half of the week. It does look like it will turn much colder though as we head towards the end of it. But initially through Monday, Tuesday, quite a bit of cloud, but still temperatures in single figures.
Oh, thanks very much for watching this evening. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.